A ver. Maravilloso. ¿Por qué no? Ah, ahora. Hola. Voy a actualizar yo esto porque si no, no me salta ahí. Maravilloso. Pues tiene que ser el evento del KochPrimeTime ahora mismo, ¿eh? El evento del... Uy. El evento del Koch tiene que ser ahora mismo. Yo lo he puesto aquí porque se supone que me imagino que lo retransmitirán aquí, pero... No lo sé. Eh, ¿En YouTube? ¿Cómo puedo buscar...? A ver. Esta gente no está en directo, ¿no? KochPrimeTime. Pero yo no quiero verlo de nadie. O sea, me refiero, no quiero verlo de alguien que esté hablando. Quedo ahí un poco en el limbo. No sé, no sé, no... Porque se supone que es Koch Media, ¿verdad? No tiene Koch Media canal. Esto es gente, me refiero, ¿no? Esto es gente normal, como yo. Eh, Pues vamos a esperar aquí. En teoría, supuestamente son 10 minutos. Voy a actualizar, ¿vale? Por si han actualizado algo del texto o algo. Está sin conexión. ¿Dónde es lo del...? Eh, no, Koch Media, no. Eh. ¿Es en directo? Vale, pero aquí hablan. Lo que me interesa. Somos Xbox. Estos me imagino que hablarán. Showcase. No lo sé. No sé si hay alguno de estos en los que van a hablar. Vale, en este hablo. Estos deduzco que no van a hablar, ¿verdad? ¿Han enchufado directos esto otra vez? A ver, un segundo. Voy a quitar esto, ¿vale? Por si pongo algún otro canal, ¿vale? Que estén retransmitiendo. Simplemente para que no lo escuchéis un segundito. Vale, pues sí, es este. El de Coach Media es este. Vale, un segundito, ¿vale? Que estoy abriendo el WhatsApp en el PC. No pasa nada, es en minutos, ¿eh? Se ha cerrado sesión automáticamente. Así me gusta. A ver. WhatsApp web. Vincular. Ya está. Ni 3 nanosegundos. Es maravilloso. Vale, ya lo tengo. Un momentito. ¿Sus títulos? ¿Y sus títulos? Ah, pero hay sus títulos en inglés. Nada. Pantalla. Activo. Vamos a dejarlo así mientras que pasa el tiempo. ¿Hay música? Hay algo. A ver. Esto fuera, esto fuera. Maravilloso. Vale, pues ya estaría. Voy a tener que hacer una de... Un momento. ¿Esto qué es? Captura... Ah, captura de vídeo. Voy a poner full. Se me ve un poco regular. Está en 1080. Cuidado. Nah, yo creo que este le voy a quitar un segundo. Vamos a dejarlo todo como estaba. Eliminar. Y ahora activo esta pequeñita que yo creo que vamos de puta madre con esa. Vale, pues nada, vamos a esperar un momento a que... a que empiece el directo. Y nada, pues lo que dure. Es súper rojo. Esto. Recién salido de las profundidades del infierno. Podemos poner un tweet. Me parto como se les caiga. Es KochPrimeTime, ¿no? No se ha caído, ¿no? No estáis escuchando nada, ¿vale? Tranquilo. Oh, vaya. Pero hay música. No, no hay música. No hay música, ¿eh? Ahora, Jesús. Se les ha caído el directo. Pues nada, vamos a ver qué presentan en Koch. No se pondrán... No. Ah, mira, el de Game Award también está. Pues vamos a pasarnos aquí. Ahí. Un segundito, ¿vale? Por el tema de la música. Y ahora lo subo un poquito más para ya escuchar bien. Ya está.
Hello there guys, my name is Opal Cadman and welcome. Today I have 3 main tasks. The first one is to introduce you to Koch Media's brand new premium gaming label. Number 2
Vamos a ver qué
is to
enseña
take a
esta gente.
deep dive into some of the games coming to that label. And finally, number 3 is to show you what the new label will be getting up to in the streaming world. I want to welcome streamers who are co-streaming this today.
Yeah.
Hello. Some of you guys
Vale,
are
yo
guys who
lo estoy
I
viendo
have
en Twitch
looked
al
up to
final.
and
Bueno, yo te lo
watched
paso
for
por
many
WhatsApp, pero...
years. And speaking of people who I've looked up to for many years, I am so proud to introduce Jeff Keighley, who will be helping me co-host
estás viendo,
us
¿no? El de
through
Koch.
this entire list of games. Jeff, how's it going?
Thanks, Opal. It is so great to be here with you for the first ever live stream from Prime Matter. I was honored yesterday
No es suficiente este pago cuando lo vimos en el Summer Game Fest.
Kickoff event, and wow, you've got a lot of games there in that sizzle, over a dozen games. So I know today we're going to go a little bit more in depth to talk about all these games, to talk to a lot of the developers. But for those of you that might have missed it yesterday or just want to see it again, let's kick things off with a look at that announcement sizzle reel for Prime Matter.
Sometimes I ask myself what it all means. Let's begin.
Ah, este es el que presentaron ayer. Este es el de los... Es el de los... Ah, no, es que es lo de los juegos, iba a decir, es el de los vampiros, no, ¿no? ¿Qué tal se escucha esta basura? A ver. Ah, vale, se escucha de puta madre. Vale. Ahí, a top. Que se escuche bien. El copyright.
Is that who you are?
My purpose makes me who I am.
I finally have the feeling we're doing something worthwhile.
Being relied on to
A ver si
succeed
presentan algo
where
nuevo.
others would fail.
Joder, el Kingdom's Come, ese le quiero probar yo. El Deliverance. Y lo tengo ahí, muerto de asco.
Prime Matter.
Maravillosa jugada.
Yes, guys, you just saw 12 games and counting. And that's just the start for Prime Matter. But before we get into these incredible games, what I like to call the juicy bits, I want to talk to you about what Prime Matter is and who we are. Prime Matter is the new premium gaming label of Koch Media. It dedicates itself to delivering a range of immersive and diverse games from amazing development talent all around the globe. It highlights the varied influences of global studios and their different approaches to game making. The new label will lead through creativity and expression with games that enthrall players.
Señora, deje de leer.
Life storytelling, create incredible moments, and above all, they're fun. The team behind Prime Matter is a melting pot of incredible talent, led by seasoned industry veterans and complemented by a young, fresh, dynamic team of multicultural gaming experts. The team behind are gamers at heart, working with such a wide range of passionate developers producing games together by gamers for gamers. And that being said,
señora, por favor, cállese ya, que quiero ver juegos.
You would have seen that one game was actually missing in our 12-game lineup for Prime Matter during the video. That is a game.
Si quitásemos a toda la gente que habla, el directo este se quedaría literalmente en media hora. Pero literal.
All right, you saw the news yesterday. Yes, there is a new Painkiller coming, and Todd is joining me now to maybe give us a few more details. I know this is kind of a fresh project for the team at Saber, and you guys, first of all, I love that you and Tim Willits
después de tanto tiempo desde que salió el último, para hacer uno nuevo,
and Painkiller was a franchise. You and I are both OG. We remember it was it probably 15 years ago at this point?
Yeah, it's been a while. You know, closer to 2 decades than 1.
My God. All right. Well, but it's one of those classic games. Let me ask you, from a Prime Matter perspective, you know, you've been in the industry like me all those years, and we remember that game. Why was this a franchise that you guys wanted to sort of bring back?
Well, you know, Painkiller, when I played it back in the early 2000s,
a ver si van a enseñar algo. Quiero ver cómo se ve.
You know, it was dark, a little twisted, intense, cool guns. These are the things that, you know, kind of hit the nail on the head of what appeals to me in a video game, both as, you know, as a fan and then also as a publisher at Saber. So, you know, we're hoping to capture those same sort of elements and bring those into the new game.
Yeah, you know, you guys are certainly masters of doing shooters from all your time at id, and
que yo entiendo,
it does have a lot of that DNA.
Que yo entiendo que tengan que hablar de su juego, pero hace falta que se tiren 10 minutos hablando para presentar un vídeo de 1 minuto, un tráiler, por ejemplo.
Brand new publisher, brand new label. What do you think of the fact that they're doing this label, and you know, it's such a diverse lineup of companies and partners around it? You know, I know you guys work with a lot of publishers, but it's pretty exciting to see a new label announced. That doesn't happen every day.
No, it doesn't. And, you know, I think that within the Embracer Group, you know,
el señor este está muteado, pero no sé si está ahí.
Growing. We've got great leadership at the top. And so Koch Media is, you know, wanting to expand their publishing. And I think that, you know, the name they chose, Prime Matter, sort of is, you know, it's sort of like the primordial soup of putting together stuff from nothing. So, you know, it kind of makes me think of this is what we do when we make video games. You know, you start with Pixel 0, and then at the end of the day, you make a game. So I feel like that, you know, that kind of resonates with hopefully the type of experiences that we're going to be providing, you know, not just within Prime Matter and working with them between Saber and our partnership, but, you know, across the Embracer Group as well.
Yeah, no, it sounds like they have a lot of games in development, but the fact that you are bringing back Painkiller is really exciting. And I know, you know, fans, of course, want to know a little bit about, you know, what's the game going to look, how's it going to play. Probably can't share a lot of details about it, but you're kind of in the early stages of development now on this?
Yeah, super early. And, you know, if anything that I would share, I'd probably get assassinated for back home once I got back to the developer, because, you know, all these, you know, the first stuff that comes out always sort of iterated on and changed. And so we're trying to keep the lid on the details until we have something that's going to be really awesome to show.
All right. Well, we'll be waiting for it, and we know with you involved, it's going to be something very special, fast-paced action, I have no doubt. So, new Painkiller coming soon from the team at Saber, published by Prime Matter. Thanks, Todd.
Thanks, Jeff.
I really can't wait to hear more about Painkiller and the fact that Todd and Tim and the team at Saber are working on it.
Ni siquiera 30 segundos.
Ready to share more.
Por lo menos para ver cómo se ve,
exciting stuff in that sizzle reel, Painkiller, Payday, but I know there's a lot more we're here to talk about today as well, right, Opal?
Actually, Prime Matter has 12 games under development right at this minute. We're so excited to show you guys what us and the developers have been up to. However, before you see some of the content that we show you today, I do have to make it clear that some
Aquí sé que suceden cosas paranormales, que se han tirado 10 minutos hablando de un juego para no presentar nada.
And some of it is about to release right around the corner. So please keep that in mind when you're viewing today's show. That being said, how do you guys feel about a psychedelic third-person survival horror game set on what it means to go on a journey about self-enlightenment and what happens when it all goes wrong?
Sí, me parece perfecto. Puede hablar de todo lo que quiera, pero coño, enseña algo.
About their game and who
Bueno, que me
they
mola.
are.
No, y vamos a hablar de nuestro
Our
juego,
game
el
is about
Painkiller y
a
tal, no sé
group
qué,
of
no sé
people who
cuánto.
go to a
Pero está en
spiritual
súper
retreat
early,
to,
pero no te vamos a
seek
enseñar nada. Me
enlightenment,
tiro 10
and,
minutos
they
hablando para no
basically get a
enseñarte
little more
nada.
than they bargained for. And
Así me gusta.
your character has to deal with her own personal issues as
Maravilloso.
well as the cosmic terrors that become awakened.
Cool. So, what type of genre is
Acérquese,
this
metas el
game?
micro en la
It's a
boca.
bit hard to pin down with with all the different influences and styles of gameplay, but I'd say we're probably a survival action horror game.
Okay. Cool. And what was the thinking behind that genre? Is it something that you guys like, or is it just it came left field? What's your decision behind that?
Personally, we always wanted to make a horror game. A big part of our core team have a background in third-person sandbox games. And we really wanted to combine, action mechanics, deep storytelling, and we felt that, the horror genre was a really exciting space to take that background and play around with.
So,
No,
kind of sticking with the horror genre, why did you decide to go with that theme? It's not really like normally what you would see, this whole spiritual awakening thing. So what was the idea behind that?
We thought it was just kind of an interesting territory to explore. There is, there's a lot of influence from that with like folk horror of the 70s and giallo horror and so forth that really inspired us more from a film standpoint. And taking that kind of aesthetic, something that was very sensational, very colorful, and mixing it in with kind of more action-oriented and exploratory game mechanics, we felt was a fresh take on the horror space.
So, kind of speaking about your inspirations and stuff, what video games, real life media has inspired you to create this title?
Well, going way back when Resident Evil 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. Alone in the Dark. So a lot of games are very inspirational to us. Our game actually started off as a game with fixed camera angles and so forth, and then we over the course of development, just especially really focusing on bringing more of an action element to it. We've since switched to an over-the-shoulder camera and haven't looked back.
So kind of talking about changes and what you guys are doing on the development side, how close is the game to like the original concept? I understand you guys are still developing the game's quite far out, but from your original concept to where the game is now, how much has that differed?
The core story and I'd say the aesthetic and the themes, those all remain intact. I'd say our gameplay, as our team size grew, we added deeper mechanics. I'd say more action to the game. Our game actually has a fair amount of combat in it, especially on the melee side. Those were things that weren't too prevalent in our original concept, and a lot of those things are just kind of based on we're a very small team at first. We're still a relatively small team, but every new person that joins, brings something new to the mix. So I'd say on that end, the game has evolved in scope and depth of gameplay.
Awesome. Kind of sticking on that point of, you got a small team, there's a lot of challenges that comes with that. What was the hardest part of making the game so far?
The hardest part was probably trying to make a game that has more realistic production values, because that's where our background comes from, on a smaller scale and budget. So for us, we had to be very strategic, utilizing Unreal. We wouldn't have been able to build this game without utilizing an engine like Unreal. Previously, we had worked on more proprietary technology. And that's also great because new people that join the team can get up and running on the engine quite quickly. In addition to that, we've been using photogrammetry from the start.
Sí, porque madre mía, qué
For both
tostón.
our environments, all of our characters are also scanned actors.
Está hablando del juego, muy bonito, la exploración, lo tal, no sé qué, no sé cuánto, pero no te enseñan nada.
In our city, Vancouver has a pretty big film industry, so really tapping into the film.
Chico, te voy a bajar el volumen porque me interesas menos 14, en serio. Está hablando del juego, del el Survivor Horror en tercera persona, que si no sé qué, que si la exploración y tal. Pero no te enseño nada.
Está ahí dejándolo para
Oh, it's been extremely beneficial. Vancouver, is home to a lot of AAA studios. A large portion of us work together at Rockstar and United Front Games, and we also have people who have worked at the Coalition and EA, as well as some smaller independent studios as well. And in addition to that, having the film industry here, where we can utilize local talent. We're working with union actors. We're scanning actors as well that we're using for our characters, and we're actually currently auditioning a couple remaining characters for the game, and as well as doing the finishing touches on our new motion capture. So we're going to be doing a full cinematics push over the coming months. That's a really exciting place to be right now.
Awesome. Sounds great. In terms of exciting things, when it comes to this game, what are you most proud of at the minute where you are?
I think the thing I'm the most proud of is just what a small focused team can do when they're all sharing the same goal and vision. As I said earlier, we come from different backgrounds, but everyone's managed to come together and really deliver an amazing amount of work for the team size we have. And yeah, it's really exciting to be working on a smaller team again. And just having that kind of energy where you're working with everyone on the team day to day.
Yeah, I imagine that is a lot different to probably what some of you are used to coming from those massive studios. So finally, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch, and also, being featured on their brand new label?
It's truly an exciting place to be. We've been kind of pushing our game as far as we could, and this partnership is really helping to provide more reach and more resources, but I think most importantly also just having a partnership on getting feedback and helping to really expand and push the vision of the game. We've already received a lot of feedback on the title, and being a small team, we're often in our own little echo chamber, and even in a short period of time, we've been able to act on a lot of the feedback, and the game has improved considerably since then.
Well, Mike, thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome to talk to you and find out a little bit more about what you guys are going to be offering for the new label. And I can't wait to let gamers finally get their hands on the content. So thank you for your time.
From psychedelic horrors to internet rumors, our next developer created the huge open world of Bohemia and took us on an adventure through the Holy Roman Empire. However, there have been some leaks that this action RPG may have a home on the Switch. Opal sat down with Warhorse Studios to try and get to the bottom of this.
Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Switch. That is quite some news.
Yes, that's true. Kingdom Come Deliverance is coming to the Nintendo Switch. And as you said, it's about gamers, devs, and games. In our case, or in this case, actually gamers play an integral part in the story.
What do you mean?
Well, some kind of confusion happened in the end of last year. We Warhorse Studios were preparing the release of the Kingdom Come Deliverance Royal Edition on PlayStation and Xbox, but someone most likely ticked the wrong box in Japan, and it looked like it's going to be released on Switch as well. Of course, by that time there was nothing existing like that. We were not even thinking about the possibility that Kingdom Come Deliverance could go on the Switch. However, Nintendo Japan took this information, some Japanese media, and then the snowball started rolling. All of a sudden, it was the talk of the day. Kingdom Come Deliverance is releasing on the Switch. But as I said, nothing like that was planned at all, and we didn't even think about that. Now, a few months back, and we think it was still somehow cursing around in the Nintendo database, Nintendo of Spain posted a picture on Twitter where they had different pictures of open world games, and they were promoting already existing open world games on the Nintendo store. And if you clicked on the picture, actually there was nothing like Kingdom Come Deliverance, of course not, because as I said, nothing like that is existing. However, again, it created confusion. People were talking about it again, like, okay, so is it coming, is it not coming? But for us, actually, and as I said, we didn't think about that until that time. For us, we started to think there's a lot of interest, there's a lot of buzz, people are actually talking about us, reaching out to us, like they seem to want Kingdom Come Deliverance on the Nintendo Switch. So we started to think, and since we are already in the Koch Media family, or the Embracer family, and there's a lot of talented studios, so is Saber Interactive, and who but them would be actually capable of bringing the Kingdom Come Deliverance version on the Switch. So we sat together, and now we are here talking about the Nintendo Switch version on Kingdom Come.
So what you're saying is that a community of gamers made this happen?
More or less, yes. The community feedback we got, of course, was a big drive for this entire project. But this comes from our general background. So think of the Kickstarter project we had in the day. So without the community, there wouldn't be any Warhorse Studios or any Kingdom Come Deliverance. So we always try to be very close to them and working together with them.
Wow, qué interesante. Kingdom Come para Nintendo Switch, pero seguimos sin enseñar nada.
Liquor we created later was actually a community idea.
Oh, vaya, vamos a hacer Kingdom Come Deliverance para Nintendo Switch, pero no te vamos a enseñar ningún gameplay para que veas cómo es el juego.
Building set for Kingdom Come Deliverance buildings.
Cómo se mueve Nintendo Switch.
And now one of the latest projects is the Kingdom Come Deliverance soap bar, which should give you the real medieval smell. In that case, I must say it actually
puedes comprar un jabón,
well.
Cuidado.
And we are coming up with crazy stuff like that all the time. Our next new merchandise product is Farkle boxed board game, kind of. So Farkle.
O sea, no, me refiero que han dicho que van a presentar.
Que no lo sé, 3 veces lo he dicho ya.
You can play in the game. And now with Griffon Studios we are coming up with a boxed version you can get and play Farkle at home against your friends.
Sí, el próximo juego del que hablan no presentan nada. Vamos a esperar a que el pavo termine de hablar. Este y el siguiente. Si no presentan nada, cierro directo. Para escuchar a gente hablando.
Ooh, my favorite. Soapy hot news. Speaking of soapy hot news, how do you feel about Warhorse being under the new label Prime Matter?
It's a huge honor, of course. We were working together with Koch for over 4 years already. In 2019, we then even became part of the entire Embracer family, so that was a big thing. And now being able to take part at the beginning of something new, be there when there's a new label being created, that is a big thing for us. And especially if you consider that we come there as an established partner already, that is really cool, and we are looking forward to a bright future.
Thank you very much, Toby. We cannot see what Warhorse has got. However, until that time, Toby.
Que para escuchar gente hablando, me miro 5 horas de podcast, ¿sabes?
From internet rumors back to reality, we will have more on Kingdom Come Deliverance for Switch.
¿Y esto qué van a hacer ahora?
All right, let's move from RPGs to FPS
el próximo juego este que van a presentar, no presentan nada, cierro directo. Me da igual que dure 40 minutos.
We play the role of a humanoid avatar of a sentient spaceship sent on a mission to the edge of the known universe to battle an unstoppable plague. The game is still a long ways from completion, but here's a very quick peek at what's in store.
Hombre, menos mal, van a enseñar algo después de 35 minutos. Menos mal. Que llevas una pelota. ¿Y por qué va a ser? ¿What?
Por hablar de más. ¿No querías un juego? Pues toma juego.
No sé, podrían haber empezado presentando esto, o 3 o 4 juegos, y luego si se quieren tirar media hora hablando, que se tiren media hora hablando. Ahora se van a tirar otros, ¿cuánto? 15 minutos hablando.
We are Raycon Games,
Básicamente.
and what you
Ahora
have
van a
just
estar
seen is the
describiendo
first
el
glimpse of
juego
our
entero.
upcoming game codenamed Final Form.
Mira.
Final Form is an action-packed
Jesús
epic
bendito.
sci-fi FPS
Ahora
in
vengo.
which you are a female-formed humanoid machine on a space mission with no return.
At the heart of the game is a mystery and alien worlds to explore, but also an adrenaline-fueled combat. In Final Form, it's all about the freedom and power of movement, being a machine unrestrained by human weaknesses. There are numerous abilities and gadgets that come with your robotic body, so you can give yourself away to the fantasy of becoming an unstoppable cybernetic goddess blazing away in a spectacular ballet of destruction.
Raycon is located in Warsaw, Poland, with additional team members located all over the world. The studio was founded and is managed entirely by game developers. Since the success of Ruiner, we've grown quite substantially. Currently, Raycon is over 50 brilliant game creators, and counting. We are not a huge team, but what we love to do is to evolve together with our projects, constantly finding smarter and better ways to achieve something truly unique. We build our work environment just like we make games, aiming for the best results and personal fulfillment. We strongly believe that the well-being of team members needs to be taken care of first, before we can pour all of that love into a game.
¿Qué?
The partnership with Koch Media has been very fruitful
No te
and
entendía nada, voy.
inspiring. We're
Que
happy
voy,
to
un
be the
segundo.
avant-garde of the upcoming new label. We're looking forward to share more on Final Form in the future. And in the meantime, please enjoy the rest of the show and see you around.
I have to say, guys, I love the soundtrack from Final Form. Moving on to our next game, which is just as special. What if you took Lovecraftian and Gagaris themes and mixed it all together with hardcore RPG elements? That's exactly what Massive Works Studios are doing. I got to sit down with their CTO to talk about their game, Dolmen.
¿He perdido algo interesante? Oye. Ah, que se ha ido.
No, nada.
No me he perdido nada interesante, ¿no?
Nada, nada.
Bueno, menos mal. Espérate un segundo. ¿Qué directo estás viendo? ¿El mío? ¿El de otro? ¿Quién es? Como realmente lo que estamos viendo me es un poco irrelevante, voy a enseñaros lo que hay para mañana. Guerrilla Collective a las 5. El Wolsom Direct, que no tengo ni puta idea de qué será. Ubisoft a las 9. Devolver y Gearbox, ¿vale? Este día es el mejor de todos. Mañana y el domingo, el mejor de todos. Ahora ya está. Podemos proceder con seguir viendo nada.
Let's speak now to Gabriel Ferreira, CTO of Massive Works Studios, who joins us now from Campinas near São Paulo in the southeast of Brazil. So, Gabriel, what is Dolmen about?
First of all, it's a pleasure to be here and to participate.
Me parece más interesante un gameplay del Buscaminas. Con eso te digo todo.
Dolmen is that kind of a game that where the hero
Qué
needs to
barbaridad.
save
Me pone un
everyone
gameplay del
from an
Buscaminas.
alien threat. Fighting with all kinds of monsters and struggling to keep going forward. Yeah, that's the kind of game that Dolmen is not about. In this game, you actually save the drillers, which is the alien species that live on that planet, but you're going there to help a company save its investment. So you're not really the nice guy that's trying to save everyone. It's just a job. But we hope that the players consider the humanity, the greed, the war, and the spares and the challenges that come to mind along with that job. taking all that part, and yes, Dolmen is also about fighting all kinds of monsters and struggling. After all, it is a hard game. It's a hardcore game. It's inspired on Souls-like, so yes, you're going to die a lot.
Awesome, thank you. So when thinking about the name Dolmen, obviously you guys went for that for like a very specific reason. What's the thinking behind the name? Why did you go for Dolmen?
So there was many things that came to our mind when describing the name of the game. Dolmen, which means a single chamber.
¿Cuántos DLCs hay del Minecraft Dungeons?
We thought it would be a good word to describe
Porque
this
me gusta.
stone, this crystal that
Me
we
gustaría
have that is
rejugarlo
related
otra vez,
to
pero
that.
no sé exactamente
In many ways,
cuántos.
everyone that deals with this crystal in the game is close to bringing problems to everyone that is around. And we wanted it to be the main piece.
No sé exactamente cuántos habrá.
Cool. Awesome. And now I know that people may or may not have heard of Dolmen before, so it is already out there in the world. But how long has it taken to get to this point?
Oh, it's been a long journey since the beginning of the
Uno que no sé
project.
cuál es, el
We
del Nether y el de las
started at,
profundidades. Y aquí pone uno
late
que es interrogación.
2016, so
Quiero esperar a que salga todo.
it's been almost
Ahora
5 years now, and probably just a bit more till it come out. But we and about our journey, if it wasn't the support that we had since the beginning, either our community, the Kickstarters, and you guys, I believe we would not be here right now.
Lovely. How have you been inspired by other games? You mentioned like the Souls-like obviously inspires it. You know, are there other games that inspire you, and also what games do the teams like?
First of all, regarding inspirations, a lot of games came to us when we were producing the game and when we were first thinking of it. Obviously, we are really passionate and we really love Souls-like games, so Bloodborne, Dark Souls, those games were our main inspirations. But we drew inspirations from all different kind of sources. So we had inspirations in Dead Space, in Mass Effect, and also not only inspirations in other games, but also inspirations in movies and Lovecraftian stories. For example, Alien and Geiger, and those were our main inspirations. About games that we most like and games that our team likes, it's really hard to say because we have a team that ranges from liking Dota to CS and Souls-like games. But what I can really tell you is that everyone of our team is passionate about the project because they love doing what they do, which is a hardcore game.
Yeah, and that makes sense as well when you get hands on Dolmen, all these inspirations that have come in. So the game is set in a sci-fi universe. Is there any specific reason you decided to go down that route? Was there any other routes that you considered at first?
Yeah. The humans are
El Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, hoy
tenéis
la actualización gratuita de PlayStation 5.
There is always something unknown that we can explore in space. So that sci-fi setting really was something that we could use to throw everything that our insane minds could come with. So we wanted to use the sci-fi as a tool to reach this goal, to present the player a world of unknown that he can fear and he can enjoy it.
No, absolutely. And while we're kind of on the point of humans and Earth, you guys are based in Brazil, which is awesome. Are there any specific challenges that you face during development because of that, or just in general?
Yeah, there were a lot of challenges that we faced along this 5-year journey. We obviously had to adapt our workflow in these late years. So 2020 and 2021 2021 was a really challenge for us, but it was something that we could adapt well, especially because even that we're based in Brazil, we're not only based in a single location in Brazil. We have people spread across the country. So it was easy enough to overcome that challenge. But there were several challenges since getting development kits and finding
Súper interesante las conversaciones.
people
Yo no
that
estoy haciendo ni
are
puto
really
caso.
capable of helping us to deliver this amazing game, and that's what we gathered, and that's something that our company appreciates the most and really gives value is the people that we work with. They were really incredible people, and they were really rare over here.
Absolutely, that's really cool. Kind of on that theme of development and challenges, given how development and technology often dictates how a game evolves throughout its development, how kind of close are you to the original concept that you guys came up for Dolmen?
Well, there are different point of views on that answer, especially because we started really small. And in the journey of the game, for example, it started as a concept from a few friends that get together and they brainstormed it for months, the game. So it diverged in two senses. And one of them, when we first thought of the game is huge and is insane and has a lot of background on it. It has all this universe around it. So a lot of it has been built. So people that loves lore and loves the universe that we are creating, they will have a lot to explore on that side. But the game from its original concept evolved a lot, especially now that we have more tools at our disposal. So on the tech side, it advanced way better than we imagined. Back 2016, we didn't have all the resources that we have now. So of course we made some sacrifices here and there and in order to achieve our goal, but we're never happy with satisfied that point of satisfaction, you know. We want to reach more. At the end of the day, this is also a game and we are having fun, but on top of all, we want to make a brilliant game for the player.
Absolutely. And speaking about like making the game and the development of the game, seeing as you are lead programmer as well, what was the hardest part of making the actual game?
I believe that we could have gone into different options, especially, for example, we could have wanted to make it a game that was simpler or smaller or not have that many hours of gameplay. But we decided to go to a hardcore game, even though it's a first game of our company. So we decided to go full in into that challenge. We faced a lot of challenges, as I mentioned previously, but I believe the hardest part of the game was finding the correct professionals and focusing on what we were doing, and you know, keeping yourself focused for 5 years on a single game is something that is challenging for everyone, especially right now. So it was a difficult decision, but we wanted to make that. Regarding programming and as a programmer, there's a lot of that I could keep talking about what is the harder. Multiplayer is always challenging, but finding that balancing fit, so the game that is not unfair, but is hard. So we wanted to aim hardcore players. So this was really something that was hard.
So you mentioned like 5 years of development, which is a crazy long time. How have you kept yourself motivated? How have the team kept themselves motivated?
I won't say that it was easy. because it wasn't. But I would say that most of all, we were always having these meetings in order to play the game. Even now that we are remote, we keep getting up every day and making a meeting and showcasing what we are doing and working alongside each one of us. Also, a lot of things that happened during before COVID was the events. The events always made us super happy. So showcasing the game to everyone and getting the players to play the game and see how they react, it was something incredible for us. It really made us feel proud of what we were doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like everyone's missing that event feeling, right? When you actually get to see people on the games and you're like, oh wow, everyone's loving our games. I think it's something that everyone is missing, definitely. Speaking of kind of motivation and happy times, what are you most proud of this game? What have you guys worked on that you're like, yeah, we did that?
I believe the universe that we created is amazing. It has a lot of background from it. So for example, we even made some comics for it that we prepared. We have a lot of story, some crazy cinematics. So we're really proud of the universe that we created, this game that we made, and achieving what we did is what makes us feel proud. And now that we have partnered with you, getting to expand that universe and getting to get closer to our original concept and what we meant for it, that is something that makes us really happy.
Cool. Awesome. Speaking of partnership with us, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch on their brand new label?
That's really an amazing feeling for us. Koch really helped us and takes care of the operation that we couldn't make it for ourselves.
Me da igual, la versión antigua que la versión nueva.
Amazing team of QA localization, so we can reach different countries and players everywhere. We have a great producer that worked with us, helping us reach our goals and really deliver the game that we want. Right. And without Koch opened the doors for us on that sense. And being part of this new label is a great opportunity for us.
Muy bien.
And also to
know estoy en directo mientras estoy retransmitiendo un vídeo del Pac-Man. Porque como no están enseñando nada, pues los escucho de fondo como si fuese un podcast.
We really thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely. We are so happy to have you guys on board.
Pero nada, que no te estás perdiendo nada.
More importantly, I am so excited to actually let people play this game at some point under this new label. So thank you so much for your time, Gabriel. It's been awesome talking to you. And yeah, let's release Dolmen at some point under the new label. Thank you for your time and see you later.
Thank you. See you.
Now, the first title from Prime Matter will be the beautiful, highly anticipated
Por favor, matadme.
2. We have a first look at the gameplay trailer, and then Opal got a chance to sit down and talk with CEO Nikolai Baryshnikov.
Hombre, un gameplay de algo.
The balance is off.
Si es interesante lo pongo, si no, no.
Tiene buena pinta, de momento tiene buena pinta.
Our land, Nostria, dances on the knife's edge of fate. King Claudius, my father, cannot lead, and his absence has set the realm in motion. Something is coming. Now the burden of the crown falls onto me. Nostria was flourishing, but there is unrest.
It used to be beautiful.
El gameplay este del juego este que están echando tiene buena pinta.
Conspiracy, sabotage, necromancy. They all threaten this land asunder. But we must unite, for distorted terrors are advancing.
Hombre, no, ese no.
Rumors tell of a false prophet. putting
¿De
our
cuál
hope
es?
in something that does not exist. A seer foretells that our savior
Tiene buena pinta.
is among us.
Dragon Age.
People of Nostria,
A ver, esto no es Dragon Age.
you laid faith
Pero
in my
tiene buena
father. Do so to me. We
Parece un
must look
juego
towards
estilo
the horizon. Fight
World of
back
Warcraft,
the
más o menos.
darkness
En el estilo de juego, me
and
refiero, no World of
preserve
Warcraft.
the light of our land.
¿Te imaginas ahora que ponga el wow? Se llama wow.
King's Bounty 2. Interesante.
Sí, sí.
Mientras que no sea como el World of Warcraft, que tienes que pagar una puta suscripción mensual.
Thanks for joining me.
Hace Alex
And
tirado en el
I am
suelo.
joined by Nikolai
Hace Alex tirado en el suelo.
Bolshakov from 1C
Yo qué sé,
Entertainment,
estará hasta las narices.
CEO and
¿Está
creator
tirado en el
of
suelo?
King's Bounty
tirado en
2.
el
So
suelo.
King's Bounty
¿En
has
serio?
been years in development and has a
Ah, pues sí, está tirado
30-year
en el suelo.
pedigree. So what
Ok.
is it that makes King's Bounty
Yo creo que le
2
está
so
pareciendo
special?
tan coñazo que yo creo que se ha sentado en el suelo por si acaso.
Was a grandfather of games like
Luego
series
lo
like
tendré que ver de fondo
So
luego.
he created these turn-based gameplay.
Mira, esa baja hasta el micro.
Text-based battlefield.
Eso lo voy a tener que ver luego. Solamente por las risas y los memes.
Ah, no, ya se ha vuelto a subir a la suya.
Chess pieces
Vaya por
on the board. So I think that's the key, the cornerstone of King's Bounty.
Absolutely, and kind of speaking about that, and I know as you mentioned, the first King's
Jesús, me
Bounty
he ido
was 1990, and then
a
you had
rellenar la botella de agua
the King's
pensando que me
Bounty
iba a
that you
durar para
guys
todo el
created
directo y
in
me la acabo de terminar
the
ahora mismo.
2000s. What technical improvements now that we're in 2021
Bueno,
are
yo voy a
you
seguir,
most
yo voy a
excited
seguir
about implementing into the
con
new
el
King's
gameplay
Bounty
del
2?
Pac-Man,
Well,
¿vale?
I'm a huge fan of the
Y es que encima a mí me está
core
pareciendo más
aspect of
aburrido
the game,
todavía
the
porque como mi
tactical
inglés
battles.
es
And
nivel
if the
bajo,
previous games,
¿sabes? Pues le
the
entiendo de vez en
battlefield was
cuando
always
cosas.
flat surface. So
Vente
now
al
we are
mío, que
bringing the
estoy,
battlefield
que estoy
into 3D.
retransmitiendo un gameplay
So
del
we'll
Pac-Man.
have, line of sights,
Créeme, te va a
heals,
parecer más interesante
like simple
ver
example,
el
if
Pac-Man
your
mientras que
archers
escuchas el podcast
allocated on
de
the hill,
fondo.
they will do like extra damage for the high ground, etc. So moving the battlefield to 3D is a huge
Si tienes algún juego así
step
retro,
forward.
antiguo,
And then the
avisa para ponerlo.
¿Qué
role-playing
pasa?
part,
¿Que estás jugando o qué?
part, we decided
No,
to
es un
move
gameplay de
more
YouTube.
towards games like
Ah, bueno,
Fable,
ya sé
Mass
qué juego
Effect,
podemos
Ay.
poner.
epic, big
No, no pongas
Espérate.
ninguno que me
role-playing
toque.
games, as opposed to have a top-down isometric view with tiny little character on the horse just galloping around.
Tú déjalo ahí puesto y ahora
So
vengo.
we are moving
Ya
towards
voy.
kind of epic fantasy adventure. Because this is not like a small indie title anymore. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest production
Que realmente,
we've done in Moscow.
o sea, no nos
so
estamos
far.
perdiendo nada,
So
porque lo
speaking
único
of
que
the
están
other
haciendo es
King's
hablar,
Bounty
¿sabes? O sea
games,
que
will this
si
King's
presentan
Bounty
algo lo
2
pongo,
follow
pero
the other stories of the games, or will it be a standalone
mientras tanto, yo
title?
qué sé, vamos a ver los
No,
gameplays.
the game will not follow on any previous games. But even the previous King's Bounty, they all sort of like disconnected. There was like the main protagonist, there are a bunch of like evil guys. There's like a small quest.
Madre
And I
mía,
would say that
lleva
previous King's
47
Bounty,
minutos desde las
was not
9,
like
se me
an
está haciendo
epic
eterno
RPG
los 47
adventure,
minutos.
so the game was more about just battling random monsters on the map and solving some little quests. And then King's Bounty 2 is really, a epic
Tanto
adventure,
cuesta de lo
with
que
like
están
dozens of
hablando
hours solving puzzles, working with
poner
different factions,
un
making
tráiler de un
decisions
minuto.
that change the character and the world. So we're
Y luego
really
si quieres te
moving
tiras
much
10,
more,
te tiras 10 minutos
towards,
hablando del juego, si quieres,
an
sin
epic
ningún problema.
RPG. However,
Pero va a ponerte a hablar y
this
no
is a
presentar
rare
nada,
combination,
no me lo da la pena.
where our game, King's Bounty, is not an action RPG. It's not a Witcher game where you have to
¿Puedo pasar esto un
press
poco?
buttons on the joysticks and battle enemies in
Ahí.
the field. It's interesting.
No vamos a escuchar
crossbreed
nada
of
porque
a
tenemos el
high
podcast de
fantasy,
fondo, pero
role-playing game with a tactical strategy title, which I wouldn't. It's not like quote unquote was never done on console, but this is fairly unique combination for the console. And for me,
pues el
like,
King's
great
Bounty ese está
inspiration
guay.
was the modern remake of XCOM, for example. Because I was a huge fan of XCOM that was released in 1994.
Me gustaría
1996,
jugarle
and the
el
modern
Shovel Knight,
console,
pero es que ese es el scroll lateral.
reinventing of
No
XCOM.
puedo, ¿vale?
This is something we're trying to
Lo
achieve in
siento.
King's Bounty, really make a modern game that works
El que sí
well
quiero
on
jugar y tengo
modern
muchas ganas es el
platforms,
Medieval.
that, works well with current understanding of gamers, how a game should look like. So
Que por cierto, le tengo en
we're
PlayStation
trying
Now.
to enhance it in
Así que en
every
cuanto
user
acabemos el slide,
Yeah, cool, awesome. Kind
a lo
of
mejor no
speaking
lo
about the
pasamos porque es
story of
bastante
King's
cortito.
Bounty 2 and how it differs, it appears to have a darker, more gritty aesthetic compared to its predecessors. What was the design philosophy around that? Why did you decide to go with that instead?
That's a interesting question. We've been debating on the design approach. And again, as I said, we spent a lot of time prototyping, working on the core gameplay and the looks and the art.
Pues aquí se le ha ido el PC, a mí no.
Previous game had this more cartoonish, kind of fancy indie look, but we decided we are now trying to play in different league. We're trying to make a much bigger title, a big game, an epic adventure. We've been astonished by modern fantasy titles both in Hollywood and in games, and we thought that this is a good idea actually to upgrade King's Bounty to what we call like high fantasy or like realistic fantasy. So it's not a dark fantasy like Kingdom Come when they're like dirty peasants, everything is bad. No, it's more like, as I said, like high fantasy. Epic characters. If there's a dragon, it looks like a dragon, not like a toy. If there's a villain, he or she looks like a real bad person. So that was the main philosophy. Plus, game development evolves, and I don't think that it's a good idea to take a game of 2008 and just make a replica with slightly enhanced graphics in 2021. So you need, especially for consoles, there's a specific expectation from somebody coming to the store or buying a game digitally or online. Okay, this is like a 49-59 game. It has to look graphically and gameplay-wise like this. There's an expectation. And that's what we had to do.
Yeah, so we've mentioned that this game combines different kind of ways that you can play the game, basically, from third-person RPG elements to this unique fighting system, this kind of chess-like fighting
¿Hay un símbolo de infinito en Twitter?
Kind of, why did you choose, with the evolution of game design and how people play games, why did you choose to stick to these hybrid game mechanics?
Sí, en el punto,
this is kind of
fuerte y lo
what
demás
makes
es tontería.
King's Bounty.
Absolutely. I think you got it spot on, so I don't even need to answer. King's Bounty is again is a grandfather of turn-based games. So if you remove tactical combat from King's Bounty, then it becomes, I don't know, Mass Effect or Kingdom Come. So this is so we can play around
para
with
escuchar un podcast, sí, podría.
Evolution of this gameplay, make it more fun or realistic. But obviously, this is the core. So this is a tactical game with a lot of role-playing aspects and high fantasy aspects. No sé
qué estará diciendo Alex en su directo, ¿vale? Pero se tiene que estar cagando en la putísima madre de todos.
O la quita.
No, en teoría estoy viendo que la sigue poniendo.
It's a different game.
Yeah, and in terms of, we've mentioned kind of this new 3D world that you're creating when it comes to the fighting style, and then these RPG mechanics and making this world feel more alive and more exciting. What was actually the hardest part of making the game? What took the longest time? What kind of caused you the most headaches?
Hard to say. First of all, this is a multiple platform game, so there are specific technical issues that prolong the development. If you make just, let's say, a PC title or just a PlayStation game, you are not having a headache of
Vaya, soy el objetivo de alguien. Fíjate.
Getting different specifications, TCRs, approvals.
Es que estoy escuchando tu directo y como me estaba riendo, se escucha de repente en el móvil.
As soon as we went away from this kind of cartoonish,
que no se engañen,
easy looking,
¿cómo se llama la conferencia esta de KochPrimeTime? Es un podcast, que nos mientan.
¿Por qué no pones el Metal Slug?
¿Alguno en concreto?
Si el Metal Slug mola en general.
Da igual, sí, a mí me está pareciendo más interesante ver gameplays que escuchar a esta gente.
Si ya me están buscando con un ovni, pues sí, me están buscando con un ovni. Vaya. Tú pon un Metal Slug y ya está.
Ahí está puesto.
We work with like dozens of actors, and there are hours and hours and hours of in-game based cutscenes, which in the past would be just dialogues and pieces of text. That was another huge implication.
Pues ya está. Ya tengo la partida
And then
ganada.
the final question,
Ya voy a hacer un
what are the
vídeo.
benefits of signing up with a global publisher like
salido el
Koch
tráiler
and
de
being on their
Battlefield,
brand
¿verdad?
new gaming label?
Sí, me lo pusiste tú.
That provides us a lot of additional support.
Cuando hace el no scope, o sea, cuando hace el texto desde con el...
I'm not sure that all gamers understand how games
Que me refiero que no lo he puesto en...
making game, writing pieces of code,
no lo he puesto en directo todavía.
this, amazing sketch of a dragon.
Nos vemos el tráiler
is
de...
only, half of the puzzle. So it's like, yin yang.
En Another. Pero bueno, así no se puede jugar. ¡Qué asco!
Estará en 4K ya el tráiler.
Manufacturing retail units, putting all this, units into the retail shops in the world, making mass market communications.
Vale, un segundo, voy a ponerme...
So we decided to cooperate with Koch Media, that seemed to be the ideal partner. So we are on the market for many years, and
voy a ponerme esto aquí a la otra pantalla, ¿vale? Por si hay algo diferente. Te toma poco. Vamos a ver el tráiler de Battlefield mientras tanto. Lo tengo aquí de fondo, ¿vale? Por si ocurre cualquier cosa, algún cambio. Que por cierto, va a ser 100% multijugador, no va a tener... Bueno, que aquí ya te lo he dicho, lo digo para el directo, me refiero. Que no va a tener campaña. Así que pues... te comes un garrón de la gran flauta, porque no tiene modo campaña. Y si el multijugador del Battlefield no te gusta, pues no te compres este juego y ya está. Creo que el título de este directo, cuando luego lo resuba a YouTube... ¿Me oyes, no? Ah, que se ha vuelto ahí. Estoy aquí hablando solo. Bien.
Please. Time to see what's inside our alien guest.
Hay algo, lo ponemos. Paramos un segundo lo otro. Y lo ponemos.
Telemetry check.
Telemetry check. Here go.
Ah, este es el ¿cómo se llamaba? ¿Scarn Reborn o algo así?
How is this possible? What
Parece Returna.
How did I end up
literalmente.
Log entry. The gate has an internal conduction system. The 3 points on the rim seem sensitive. A targeted blast of electricity should cause a reaction. The debris.
Mira alrededor un camino para abrir la puerta alienígena. Vale, o sea que tienes que abrir la puerta alienígena, pero por otro lado, ¿no? Esto es interesante.
It's still intact.
Me parece Returna, literalmente.
What the hell was that? Log entry. The creature has multiple salivary glands in its thoracic region that seem to produce a highly venomous secretion.
Un poco más lento que el Returna, pero...
Wow. whole place is covered with some kind of organic residue. Looks like Robinson managed to connect the MPU to the pillar. This will help me get through that tissue webbing. And I'm taking the MPU.
Está guay, es Returnal, versión un poco más lenta, por decirlo así. No tiene buena pinta. El que quiero jugar yo es el... ¿Cómo se llamaba? No me saldrá. Y además, si comprabas el primer juego, te regalaban el otro, el Bright Memory, el Infinite. Si lo tienes en Steam, te regalan el otro, el Infinite. Me lo tengo que pillar antes de que salga el Infinite, por lo menos para que me lo regalen, no por otra cosa. Está jugando en PC, Es como jugar a Returnal. Pero es que este estilo de juegos es como que debería haber salido hace un par de años. No termino de pillar, No termino yo de pillar el concepto de estos juegos. Rollo que me parece interesante, cuando salga lo jugaremos, pero... Ya está.
Ya estoy aquí.
Hola.
En esta casa hay fantasmas. No hay de todo en esta casa. ¿Puedo creer?
¿Cómo te van saltando cosas para que no lo sepas todo?
¿Qué?
¿Y cómo te van saltando cachitos del gameplay para que no lo veas todo?
Sí, tío, he tenido que estar yendo de arbusto en arbusto porque no podía jugar. Lo bueno es que quedan solo 6 personas. Lo malo que hay un tío con un ovni.
Esto por ejemplo, es interesante.
No sé lo que es, pero yo te creo.
No es que sea un super juego, pero es interesante. Es como el Returnal, ¿sabes cuál es el Returnal? El de Play 5. Pero más despacio. En vez de la velocidad que tienes en el Returnal, es como vas más tranquilo aquí. Por lo menos la sensación que me está dando a mí.
¿Qué está pasando?
Estás en un planeta alienígena y vas con toda la cara ahí al descubierto, ¿sabes?
Así me gusta. Haciéndome caso.
Pues sí, como siempre.
Quédate quieto. Quédate quieto. Quédate quieto. No se queda quieto.
Vale, con el pecho ahí abierto, golpearte como que no.
That really was something, and last week Opal had a chance to talk to the developers, Mad Head Games.
Quitando prácticamente que es un juego que si hubiese salido hace un par de años tampoco hubiese pasado nada.
¿Rebota en 2? Sí, ha rebotado en 2.
Bueno, vamos a terminar de ver el gameplay del Battle. Voy a ponérmelo aquí de fondo por si salta algo. Pero vamos, que están hablando, ¿eh? Tampoco vais a perder nada. Esperemos que las 25 conferencias que hay mañana sean más ligeras que esto, ¿eh?
¿En serio vas a estar saltando en todas las plataformas para pillarme desprevenido? ¿Tan asquerosa puede ser la gente? No llega a ser porque... Me parió.
La musiquita del tráiler de fondo del Battlefield 2042 mola un montón, por cierto.
Sí, ese yo.
Pero vamos, me reitero lo mismo. Es un juego en el que solamente se van a enfocar en el multijugador, como en el Black Ops 4. O sea, no tiene modo campaña. Tiene el multijugador y deduzco que sí tiene el Battle Royale ese del Battlefield, que salió en el 5, en el Battlefield 5.
Ya, coño.
¿Cómo se llamaba? ¿Firestorm?
¿Cuál?
El Battle Royale de Battlefield se llamaba Firestorm, ¿verdad? Creo que se llama Firestorm. Si lo tiene, también. Si no, 100% multijugador va a ser este juego. A mí no me interesa. Lo puedo probar, pero no me interesa.
¿Esta plataforma tiene, en serio? ¡Coño! ¡Qué susto me ha pegado! En serio,
esto salió... Esto ocurrió, de verdad. No sé si fue en el Battlefield 3 o en el Battlefield 4, pero esto que acabamos de ver ocurrió de verdad. Un random lo hizo, le salió bien la jugada y lo ha puesto así. Maravilloso. Una barbaridad el Battlefield este nuevo. A mí no me llama el multijugador como tal, pero tiene buena pinta. Que por cierto, ahora que lo pienso, tengo que mirar el Battle Royale de Call of Duty, porque si veo que pesa poquito lo podemos probar. Battlefield 2042. ¡Wow! Espectacular tráiler.
Que encima gana de potra, gana.
El 13 de junio sale el gameplay. El 13 de junio es el domingo, ¿no? Sí. El domingo 13 de junio, vale, pues seguramente en la conferencia de Xbox veremos gameplay del modo multijugador. Es que tampoco vais a perder nada, tampoco, como digo yo. A ver, ¿algún juego así antiguo para poner gameplay?
Un Pokémon. Yo qué sé.
A ver.
El Spiro. De la Play 1.
Un gameplay. No, esto no. Este. Se ve horroroso. Mucho más interesante ver un gameplay de algo. Lo tengo aquí de fondo, ¿vale? No nos vamos a perder nada. No está ocurriendo nada. Si es que lo más gracioso es que no está ocurriendo nada. Un pavo hablando y ya está. Qué pereza. A ver, otro juego antiguo mientras continúa en el podcast.
a childlike scientific curiosity. But one thing she is not, and that's a warrior, like a trained warrior. She's not a soldier, so she's not like a space commando or anything. And and she does end up in a situation where like she needs to fight for her life. So that's a theme that's kind of like really interesting to us. Because the fact that she's not a trained combatant doesn't mean she's not capable. So she has like a strong will, a sharp mind, and she's very brave and tough. But like she's under tremendous stress in our game, and we want to show how vulnerable she is, how scared she is, how distressed. Because true courage doesn't it doesn't come out of lack of fear. It comes in face of fear. So we do want to show this fear, and it's actually like this. The fact that she's overcoming this, like fighting her emotions, fighting all the stress, that makes her courageous, and that's great. So she gets frightened, she fights her emotions, she's susceptible to panic, which I think kind of makes her relatable.
Ya sabemos que el año que viene si hay conferencia de Koch,
I'm all out of gum, I'm
ni en la
kicking
lista
ass and chewing bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum. Like that's not her. She is like her heart pounds, her voice breaks, she trembles. But then, and that's what I really like when her voice breaks, when she's like really scared, but she like clenches her fist, and the adrenaline kicks in, and she pushes through, no matter the obstacle, and she does it using her mind, and using science and using her cunning to craft these weapons and gadgets and survive against the odds.
Awesome. So you mentioned that Kate's a team player and that Scar gets sent up. Who else is in the team? Who else are we going to be meeting on this adventure?
So she's a part of a four-person team. There is the commander of the mission, Commander Robinson, Richard Robinson, and he is like a person with a military background, like a pilot and an officer, and like he is the commander after all. But the rest of the team are mission specialists, because and this is also kind of like the idea that it's this alien object appears, we send scientists and explorers trying to figure what's going on. So Kate is joined by her close friend Tamara, who is and also like a scientist and an astronaut, and by Mike, a little bit younger member of the team, who's also like a communications expert. And they're all scientists working together to solve this mystery. But Kate does get separated from them, and part of the game is actually uncovering the fate of her other team members, and I don't want to spoil anything, but Kate obviously cares a lot about her teammates and her friends.
Speaking of best feelings that you can have, what are you most proud of up to date of Scars Above?
I'm actually gonna give you a corny but very true answer. I'm most proud of the team. So making a game is a huge effort, and it requires a lot of hard work, focus, energy, dedication, but also cooperation, communication, support. So it's just looking at a group of people working together on a common goal, that's really inspiring. And I think that's truly the case with any development team. When you ask what you're most proud of, and I keep thinking one day in the far future, I may actually forget some of the details during the development, but I will always remember the people I worked with.
That's awesome. And then last question, what are the benefits of signing up with a global publisher like Koch and being on their brand new publishing label?
There's a bunch of benefits, but having access to certain resources, to experience. This is a game with many firsts for us. So having someone to just share thoughts and share the experience is really valuable. But on a personal level, I have to say this, and I'm being perfectly honest, the biggest benefit for me was meeting a bunch of great people on your side. And I truly mean this. It's a continuing pleasure to work with you. Not just not just talking about the game or how we can make it better, but we talk a lot, as we chat about various things. Just meeting you guys, it's a tremendous boost to what we're doing. you know, I don't want to downplay like the obvious benefits, because there's a lot of them, like the, you know, their infrastructure, the resources, but you know, for me personally, it's just like meeting and getting to hang out with you guys. That's really awesome.
Absolutely, and it's a pleasure to hang out with you as well, Ivan. And thank you so much for your time. I cannot wait to let people play Scars Above, because I know that we have so much fun with it in the office. So thank you very much. And yeah, we can't wait to see more.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm looking forward to people playing the game. I'm really excited about it too. And thank you for this talk.
Es verdad, el Peter Jackson que
now for something completely different. When Brian Fargo himself, the granddaddy of top-down isometric RPGs, says he is excited about a game, that's gotta mean Prime Matter is getting something right. Encased is an isometric dystopian sci-fi RPG scheduled for release this autumn. And this new trailer, which we're unveiling today, should give you a pretty good flavor of what the game is all about.
It's 1976. And the future has arrived. But here's the skinny. We at Cronus need you. Cronus was formed after a dome-like structure was discovered 5 years ago. Was it from our ancient past? Was it made by aliens? Does it run on perfectly harmless nuclear power? We need to know. And humanity is waiting for you to help unlock its secrets. Descend into the dome itself and join one of our incredible research teams. The only question is, which wing of Cronus is the best fit for you? If you like taking orders, cracking heads, ultra-violence, and guns, lots of guns, then the Black Wing is for you. Can you build and repair incredible technology, but not expect any credit for it? You sound like an engineer to us. Welcome to the Blue Wing. Are you a doctor, scientist, mathematician, or any other type of brainiac? We've got you covered in the White Wing. Do you like taking credit for the hard work of others, but never do anything yourself? Those forms won't fill themselves. That's management, mister. And the Silver Wing awaits. Are you a criminal, prisoner, or have no discernible skills whatsoever? Then you're coming to the Orange Wing, like it or not. Are you ready for adventure? Are you ready to make the change with us? Are you ready to love it so much that you'll never want to leave? Then join Cronus and take the second giant leap for mankind under the dome.
That's not all. Opal got to sit down with the creative brains behind Encased. Check it out.
Let's go to St. Petersburg in Russia and speak to Vyacheslav Kosahin, creative director of Dark Crystal Games and the brains behind their upcoming isometric RPG Encased. So, Slava, what is Encased?
So Encased is an old-school RPG in the sci-fi post-apocalyptic setting, basically.
Awesome. So the name Encased is kind of, you know, it's a word and it has various meanings. What's the thinking behind the name?
The thinking behind the name comes from the setting of the game, from one main entity of it, which is the dome. The game takes place in the anomalous zone called the dome, which was found somewhere in the last unknown desert on the Earth and on our planet. And well, basically people who get in there, various scientists,
Son las 10 y 17. Si a las 10:30 no ha acabado la mierda esta de KochPrimeTime, lo que ha mandado a tomar por culo, porque para escuchar un podcast me voy a la radio.
Which I think makes some sense in this regard.
Absolutely. Yes. So,
en vez de poner en el título luego cuando lo resume, en vez de poner Koch Media, voy a poner ni entréis al vídeo.
How long is it actually taken to get to the point where you are now?
Vais a perder 1 hora y media de vuestro tiempo.
We are developing the game for 3.5 years now. We started late in 2017 with some pre-production. But
oye, pues no han arreglado de la guitarra.
we have thoughts about a project like this for years and years before
no, este iba a decir, este es el Alice hostia, verdad, yo tengo el Alice Madness Return.
So it
A lo
takes
mejor me lo paso
10
también.
years of thinking behind this game, this project, and
Sí, estoy poniendo juegos antiguos, pues hay algunos sí que me llame la atención.
To this time.
Pon el Imperium.
So considering how long it takes, how do you guys
Si no sabes ni
keep
siquiera cuál es el
yourself so
Imperium.
motivated just on one like particular title?
Es que ha salido
Well,
ahí
we
un
don't,
juego del
we can't
Alice.
say we have any problems with
Y he dicho, coño, yo tengo
motivation
un
or
juego
our
de
own
Alice, tengo
because
el Madness
for
Return. Digo,
most,
coño,
if
pues
not
podría
everyone
pasármelo.
on the team,
Este es el
this is a
Painkiller, este le
dream
tengo yo.
project that,
Mírale.
you know, comes to life. So
Aviso que han
that's
dicho al
fine in
principio de
this
que están
regard.
haciendo un nuevo
Motivation
Painkiller, pero no ha
is,
presentado
always
nada, ¿vale?
high, but also we are in the early access, and we're really open with the community from the very early stages of
El
the
Flat
project.
Out. Hostia, este juego muy
Because
divertido.
of this openness and talks
Es una locura
with
el
the
Flat Out.
community,
El
and we
Flat Out.
had a
Que por cierto, creo
crowdfunding,
que
and now we are in the
en uno de
early
los estos de
access. We
PlayStation
have this
Plus,
constant feedback
creo
on
que
the
daban un
project,
juego muy
both
parecido al
positive
Flat
and
Out.
sometimes
Creo,
negative.
El que se
Which
llamaba
obviously keeps us
Greckless, algo así. Endless
motivated.
Greckless, algo así.
If we would be on our
Ni
own
puta
for those like 3.5 years and some extra time we'll spend on developing this game, maybe the motivation could decline a
¿Sabes de
little
estos
bit,
tiros
but
que haces que te salen una vez cada 1000 años y no los grabas?
shared feedback, we all
Pues eso
good.
mismo es lo que me
Awesome.
acaba
And
de
then
pasar
kind
a
of
mí.
bringing it back to the game, given how
Son las 10 y 20, 10
development and
minutos. Como no
technology
acaben 10
often
minutos,
is basically
lo cierro yo.
dictates how
El
the
Prince
game
of
evolves
Persia.
throughout its
Hostia, me tengo
development.
que... A
How
ver,
close to
espérate.
the original concept that you came up with
Aprovechando que
years and
estamos
years
aquí,
ago are you now with the game that
yo
you
de
have
Prince of Persia
currently?
tengo uno, ¿verdad? Y tengo este.
Overall
Es el que quiero
concept,
jugar.
we
¿Podemos
managed to
instalarlo?
keep it,
¿Cuánto pesa?
keep
8
it
gigas.
alive. We managed to keep it true. It's a very
Este juego es el antiguo, el que yo me he pasado es el Prince of
old-school
Persia, el de Forgotten Sands, que me lo pasé en directo además,
game,
entero.
which is
vamos a
inspired
descargar
by
este.
many
Y luego
golden
tengo aquí
classics of
el-
late 90s and early 2000s.
Alice,
and in that regard,
Madness
it,
Returns.
all,
¿De
you know,
Wonderland?
all
pues
those
no.
ideas survive
Pues sí, claro.
through the
Madness
process,
Returns
which
es
is
el
really
de
great.
Wonderland.
Most of the
Pues este le tengo y este estuve
mechanics,
jugando 8
abilities,
horas, más o menos, bueno,
perks,
7 con
and,
1.
all those
No llegué a pasármelo
little,
entero,
things
porque tuve no sé
which
qué
these,
problema.
RPGs are built
Pero este me gustaría rejugarlo,
from,
la
we
verdad.
managed to put it in there too, but obviously because technology
Bueno, venga,
changes and even, you know,
9 minutos.
time passes, some
¿de
less
verdad lo vas a
important
cortar?
things, I'd say,
¿Eh?
like maybe graphics
¿De
or
verdad lo vas a
maybe
cortar?
art style beats or
Sí, en 10 minutos
maybe
no acabo,
some
sí.
topics and themes. We
Pues no van a terminar en 10 minutos,
explore
ni
those, you know, transformed and
creo que es
changed
obvio, ¿no?
during the process, because making games and RPGs particularly it's an iterative process and takes many iterations to figure out what is the like the heart, what is the idea you want to bring to the players. So those transform and crystallize during this long development.
pero
But
online
the
no.
original concept, the very heart of it,
Mira, poner una cuenta
it's
atrás
all
de
in there,
10
which is
minutos.
really great.
Yeah, so
¡Hola,
speaking about the
relámpago!
concept, what's the actual narrative of Encased?
The story
muchachos,
of Encased
¿escucharon
is a
el
story
relámpago?
about exploring this anomalous zone,
Oye,
the
muchacho,
dome.
¿otro escucharon el
The
relámpago?
player starts as an employee of this Cronus organization, which is the only organization that controls entire dome
Mira, el Call of
research and
Cthulhu.
studying. There are 5
Hombre, yo quiero
departments
jugar a
which
la
are called
versión
wings.
a la
Player can start
a la buena,
in,
por decirlo
which
así.
affects the game a lot and the story of the game.
Hay un poco de tormenta.
This is the Black
Oh,
Wing, which are
nada.
the
Lo mismo
security
explota el
and
PC.
police services. There are White
Noto
Wing,
un rayo de
which
estos
are
que cae justamente,
scientists
¿sabes? En la antena.
and
Que
medics.
te sube la
There
esta y
is
se te baja los
the
plomos. a tomar
Silver
por culo el
Wing,
PC.
which are
Mira, es una
the
buena manera de cortar el
management
directo.
Mira,
and,
ahí sí
you
que lo
know,
vas a llevar a
ruling,
arreglar.
Hostia, el Max
wing
Payne,
of
es
the-
verdad.
of the-
Esto
of
me lo
the
montó.
dome of the
Hostia, y el
Cronus.
Kanan Lynch.
There,
Hay un
Blue Wing,
hay
which are
dos juegos de
technicians
que se
and
llama
engineers,
Kanan
and there is
Lynch
this
y el Kanan
special
Lynch
Orange Wing,
Dog
which
no sé qué,
is
o algo así.
contains
Que está bastante bien los dos.
which were
Yo me pasé los
freed
dos cuando salieron en
go to the
Xbox.
dome
Y creo que los
to
tengo
do
en Steam.
various manual labor.
So you've mentioned that the game is set in the early